Well, President Obama reached an 11th hour deal with pro-life Democrats, reaffirming his promise that tax dollars would not be used to fund abortions. But could federal dollars still end up funding abortions? Joining us right now is Minnesota Representative Michelle Bachmann and Illinois Representative Janet Schakowsky. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Steve.
All right, Congresswoman Bachmann, let's start with you. As you understand it, the way things are right now, even though the president's going to sign this executive order, could federal monies be used to fund abortions?
Yes, they absolutely can. This will be the first time in American history that that's ever happened, and that's why you saw Republicans put up such a big fight last night.
But I thought it was very clear that, what we heard from Bart Stupak, and originally apparently he ran into Rahm Emanuel at the gym, and they talked about an executive order. The executive order would essentially keep federal funding from happening, but how can you say that it would be used?
Well, because the executive order is an illusory promise. Law is law, and an executive order can't trump law because the president isn't Congress. He can't just sign a sheet of paper and have that override law. If that was the case, the president would have imposed his entire health care bill through the executive order. The best proof is Debbie Wasserman Schultz yesterday, who said the same thing. The executive order will not trump law. If you have pro-abortion Democrats who approved of this last night, that's really all you need to know, that the paper isn't worth what it's written on.
Congresswoman Schakowsky?
Well, actually, the pro-choice Democrats have never been happy with either the Nelson language, which was in the Senate bill on abortion, or the executive order. But we knew that in order to pass the bill, that we were going to have to underscore, put a line under the fact there is no federal funding for abortion in this legislation. It is law. The executive order tracked the Senate language that says that there is no federal funding for abortion. That's just the truth.
Well,
and Bart Stupak, but let me just say that Bart Stupak, who has been the advocate, he held up the bill on the pro-life side, actually stood on the floor and said this is not about protecting life, it's about politics.
Well, Congresswoman, if you say that there is no federal funding for abortion in this bill, but you say that had the Stupak amendment gone through on the Senate bill, you and 49 other Democrats or pro-life Democrats would not have voted for it.
And the reason that the pro-choice Democrats wouldn't have is that it went well beyond current law and current regulations, which is the Hyde Amendment, which says very clearly that no federal funding would be used. But the Stupak Amendment said that even with their own money, that women would not be able to get abortion services.
All right. Michelle Bachmann, before you leave, I'll give you the final word.
Well, what we learned last night, Steve, is that it's very hard to find a pro-life Democrat. We saw a dozen pro-life Democrats cave last night and give in. And again, this executive order will not stand, and we do have and will have federal funding of abortion for the first time, which means we'll have 30% more abortions than we've had in the past. So people shouldn't give up hope. We're going to repeal this bill when we win back a conservative majority in the House.
All right, we're going to have to end it right there for now. Ladies, Janice Schakowsky and Michelle Bachmann, we thank you both for joining us live.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.